In Australia, Dave is a street busker who has a girlfriend who is an office worker named Sarah. The two of them fight every day, whether at home, in a restaurant, or in a supermarket. Dave is very childish and likes to say rude things, while Sarah just wants Dave to love and marry her, like any other adult. Their tumultuous relationship finally made Dave decide not to see Sarah anymore. Dave lives with his sister Tess and her 5-year-old son Felix. At Tess's house, Dave's only job is to lie down and play games. One day, Tess scolded Dave so that he would return to Sarah and try to live a better life. Dave also intends to propose to Sarah. He then asked Felix for help to carry out his idea. Felix becomes Dave's escort while carrying a sign that reads, "Will you marry me?" But unfortunately, when they arrive, Sarah turns out to be having sex with Rory, her office friend. An angry Dave tried to attack Rory, but Dave was attacked back. At that time, Sarah said that she just wanted Dave to be more mature. Finally, Dave leaves with Felix. The next day, Dave gets an assignment from Tess to take Felix to his school. It seems that Felix is often bullied by his male friends. Later, Dave meets Felix's teacher named Audrey Caroline. When he saw her, Dave immediately fell in love at first sight. After taking Felix to school, Dave returns to pick Felix up and meets Audrey again. There, he lied that he was returning from band practice. Then, one of Audrey's friends said that she couldn't join the field trip. Then, Dave suggested, what if he became Audrey's companion on the field trip? At home, Tess gives Dave some medicine because Felix has a lot of food allergies. The next day, they left for a farm tour location by bus. However, because the bus broke down, they sang together. But when Dave started singing, the sound of his guitar made the kids dizzy. Plus, the lyrics of the song were very messy. Audrey asked Dave to stop. Fortunately, soon after, the bus driver returned and said that the bus had been repaired. They finally departed. Meanwhile, we move on to a military facility near the farm. There, 2 officers are walking down a hallway. Then they found one of the soldiers who had turned into a zombie eating someone there. Because the zombie did not want to obey their words, he was finally shot to death. One of the officers planned to report this to another post. However, they seemed to have trouble dealing with the zombies. The female officer immediately told the male officer to wait while she went to secure the gate. Unfortunately, when the officer was caught off guard, the person who was eaten earlier turned into a zombie and bit the officer. Meanwhile, outside the gate, there were some Asians who got lost because they couldn't speak English. Suddenly, however, the alarm went off, and the soldiers quickly secured the other side of the gate. Upon arriving at the farm, they were greeted by the kids' favorite host, Teddy McGiggle, and his friend Frogsy. They all then went around to feed the goats, milk the cows, see the hedgehogs, dance together, and other things that made them happy. Meanwhile, at the military facility, the zombies begin to make their way out to the farm. Then the stray Asians were seen playing and thought the zombies were just entertainment. Then one of them tried to take a photo with a zombie. Eventually, he became the zombie's lunch. Audrey, meanwhile, was relaxing with the other kids, while Dave was confused after seeing one of the Asians running away. When Dave approached Audrey, he finally learned that Audrey was engaged. When they return to using tractor, they are stopped by one of the zombies eating sheep. The farm officer also tried to approach the zombies. Dave, meanwhile, is still fighting with Max. He was then scolded by Audrey, while the officer was being bitten. Audrey thought that she was doing something indecent, but suddenly the zombie turned around and tried to approach Audrey. Audrey stuck a pitchfork into his stomach, but it didn't stop the zombie. Dave tries to drive the tractor, but he doesn't know how to drive, so Felix has to teach him. Once the tractor is running, Audrey returns and calms the other children by singing. Apparently, almost everyone on the farm has turned into zombies. Then, Dave was forced to stop his tractor when some zombies ate a cow in front of him. Audrey told the children that they were playing a game, a chase game, and the zombies were the guards. They had to line up and walk to the bus while avoiding the zombies. But since there were so many zombies around the bus, they turned into the merchandise store. Apparently, Teddy was already inside, but he didn't want to open the door for fear that the zombies would get inside. Audrey told the kids to go through the rabbit hole, and when Audrey entered, one of the zombies was holding her bag. She was forced to let go of the bag. Meanwhile, Dave, who was still outside, tried to climb the big barrel and break the roof of the shop until he fell on Teddy. Then they dueled because Teddy did not want to let the children and Audrey into the living room. Eventually, Dave hit Teddy with his guitar and Teddy fainted. They then tried to use their cell phones, but unfortunately there was no signal. Audrey tells the kids that zombies aren't real. Dave gives the kids snacks, but forgets that Felix has allergies. So Felix suddenly starts to suffocate. Meanwhile, Dave's bag, which contains Felix's medicine, is left in the tractor. However, since Felix didn't want Dave to leave, Audrey had to go get it. She ran towards the tractor. However, since many zombies were there, Audrey took a shovel and started fighting the zombies. After getting the bag, she tried to run through the zombies while carrying the shovel. When Audrey returned, she suddenly heard the sound of a helicopter. Teddy tried to climb up to the roof to call the helicopter. However, due to his boundless excitement, he tripped and fell down. He then asked Audrey to open the door. However, because of the many zombies, Audrey didn't want to open the door. Dave couldn't bear to see Teddy trapped, so he helped Teddy up to the roof. Night falls. The soldiers were discussing the whereabouts of the zombies. The report from the helicopter reconnaissance said that the zombies were gathering at the store, and they proposed to bomb there. When the parents wanted to pick up their children, they were stopped by the soldiers. Tess tries to contact Dave, but there is no answer. Meanwhile, Audrey is singing a bedtime song to lull the children to sleep. Dave slowly changes and starts to care about the children. After the children fell asleep, Dave and Audrey talked. Dave talked about his band that had disbanded and said that he had just broken up with his girlfriend. Apparently, Dave's childhood was quite dark. His parents separated, and it drove his mother crazy. So, Dave and Tess are forced to spend every vacation to visit their mother, who is in a mental hospital. Meanwhile, Audrey said that she and her fiancé have been separated for a long time. Audrey used all the money that was supposed to be used for education to go to Australia, just because she wanted to meet her favorite band. However, bad things happened, and she had to be taken to hospital with a broken bone. Without money, she couldn't return home. Eventually, however, she got a job as a teacher at a school so she could pay for his medical bills and return home. Since then, she decided to stay there and become a teacher for the children. The next day, since the kids were starving and unruly, they decided to get out of the place using Teddy's car. Dave then attracted the attention of the zombies so that Teddy could run towards his car. When Teddy managed to get into his car, Dave ran after Teddy. However, Teddy did not want to open the door. Then, as it turns out, there was Frogsy in the car who had become a zombie, and he tore Teddy's body apart. Dave then climbed onto the car. Suddenly, his cell phone rang, which turned out to be from Tess. He told Tess that he thanked her for taking care of him all this time. Unfortunately, the cell phone fell, and he was trapped there. Knowing that Dave wasn't coming back, Felix went out by breaking through the zombies while wearing his Darth Vader costume. He then drove the tractor towards Dave. Dave immediately jumped off the car and took Felix to Audrey. He then broke into the merchandise store and took Audrey and the other children to leave the place. Max, who had been clamoring to play golf, hit the zombies that tried to get close using a golf club. And Audrey gets her bag back. As they sang, suddenly the zombies responded and followed them. When they clapped their hands, the zombies clapped too. They almost reached the border guarded by soldiers. However, the soldiers wanted to shoot at them because they thought they had been infected by the zombie virus. However, when the soldiers heard that Dave and Audrey were carrying children, the army commander let them pass and shot all the zombies behind them. They all survived, and the soldiers then blew up the merchandise store. But suddenly, they were taken away by people wearing PPE and quarantined for 48 hours. The parents felt uneasy and worried. They started asking about their children's condition. The soldiers explained that their children had made it through the deadly conditions. They all thought their children must be very scared. But as it turned out, the children were having fun and singing along with Audrey and Dave. There, Dave began to change for the better, and they finally lived happily ever after. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe. Because by subscribing, you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.